What's up? What's up, everybody? I'm live. This what y'all want. Y'all got it. Roberto Conspiracy Files. Y'all get in here. Get in here. You gotta talk about this American propaganda. Yo, what's good, Lobo? What you got going on, my boy? Long time no see. What's up, everybody? My boy Lobo's in the building. We about to talk about this American propaganda, what's going on, and how America is controlling the narrative around the world. Coliseum, we're gonna set it up, man. We're gonna set that interview up, my boy. I know you've been waiting patiently for a long time. Promise you, we're gonna make it happen within the next week. As soon as I get some, I'm gonna set up some free time. We're gonna set that interview up. Oh, that's what's up, Lobo, man. I want to hear some of those beats. What's up, Fast Light? What's up, Jeremiah? So, guys, we're about to talk about this American propaganda to the point where it's ridiculous. And if you stay in the Western Hemisphere, you are controlled by American news media. It doesn't matter if you're in Germany, England, France, Spain, wherever, Poland, Canada, Mexico, you are controlled by American propaganda. Any news site you go on, you're controlled by American propaganda. When you go onto news sites, what's the first thing you see when you go to Russian-Ukraine war? All you see is things that are degrading Russia. Russia makes. You even got one that says, let me see where I seen it at. Ukraine has exposed Russia as a not so great power. This is basically giving people around the world a mindset of don't be scared of Russia. Russia is not as tough as you think they are, knowing that Russia would obliterate the majority of these countries around the world. Just because one country is putting up a fight with the help, you got to think these other countries may not have soldiers on the ground, but they're basically backing Ukraine with all type of military equipment. So basically, Russia is fighting against U.S. made technology. Britain, France, Germany, all these countries that are putting in helping Ukraine. They're not just fighting against the Ukrainian military, they're fighting against all types of different military. If Ukraine was just using this old outdated equipment, Russia probably would have won by now. We've already took over Ukraine and installed a new government. But that's the fear of the West, is Russia taking over, installing a new government. Because I'm not saying Russia's right, because Russia is not right regardless, but the West isn't right either. So some of the things Russia did say is true. Ukraine does have a lot of neo-Nazis in Ukraine. A lot of neo-Nazis live in Ukraine. And he says some of them have infiltrated the government. I don't know how true the government part is, but I wouldn't be surprised. Another thing he was saying is United States had biolabs creating diseases and stuff like that to use against Russia. He is not lying. Obama actually approved these biolabs in Ukraine back in 2006 or 7, right before he became president. He approved these when he was a senator. So these biolabs have been in Ukraine for over 10 years. Even as president, these biolabs have been in Ukraine for a very long time. And in these labs, they create things that, we're not supposed to know about. We weren't even supposed to know about these labs. And the crazy thing is, when it comes to stuff like this, these labs and things of this sort, we never know about it until something happens like this war. Just imagine how many of these labs America has around the world, even on the borders of China and stuff like that. If China ever decides to invade not Ukraine, but Taiwan, we'll find out a lot of truth about a lot of truth about what United States really is doing inside of Taiwan. Man, I gotta get my AC. What is going on, man? AC. Give me a second, guys. Get this AC bumping in here. It's hot as hell in my house right now. I don't know how to get my damn. All right, there we go. So we'll find out a lot more about what the U.S. really has going on in Taiwan. A lot of people think the United States is really going to protect Taiwan because our president has said if China does invade Taiwan, that he would go to war against China. Partially because Taiwan is the number one producer of, I believe, microchips. If I'm not mistaken, I could be wrong. It's something dealing with chips. They're the number one producer of it in the world. And if China has control of that, they control the market. More money for China and more control over the world and politics and a lot of influence around the world. That is what our government does not want. So Ukraine, being on the border of Russia, our government has been doing little sneaky things that nobody knew about until this war started. And now that this stuff is being exposed, our government is using propaganda to tarnish Russia and make the world think that Russia's not really as powerful as they think it is, and to make Russia look like it's a very weak army. Guys, do not fall for this. Russia has the most nukes in the world. Russia has the most tanks in the world. Russia has one of the best air forces. Give or take, they still fall behind the United States in almost every category, besides nukes and tanks. And a lot of their nukes are outdated and can't do anything. They can't function, all of them. And a lot of their tanks are outdated, but they do have a modern military. Maybe not everything. They do have a modern military. The United States does have those weapons of mass destructions that the United States were so much worried about Iraq having, we have here in our country. And when they mean weapons of mass destruction, they're not talking about just regular nuclear weapons. United States has, I made a video about this on my old channel before it got deleted and banned. We have weapons that should not even be allowed to be a thing. Our military over here is so far advanced that if the world was to blow up or be destroyed, it would be because of the United States. The United States will never, ever lose a war, guys. I'm telling you that. And I'm not boasting or bragging about it because this is not a good thing. Our military is so far advanced, and we have to, of course, our government tries to play the role that they're not that advanced. So if people knew exactly how strong the United States military was, they would never go to war with us. So they would never have a chance to dethrone or to slow down the progress of China or Russia if they're so afraid to go to war with us, because they're already afraid of the United States now. So imagine if they knew what the U.S. was capable of. It's all about mind games. The United States is a bully that does not like to listen, but doesn't like other countries to do what they want to do. We've invaded a lot of countries. We not annexed, but we've, occupied countries for years, installed governments. We've done what we're complaining about Russia doing. So and then we got more propaganda for people to side and make Russia look like a bad country, or make them look like they judge the people as a whole. We cannot judge the Russian people based off what their president is doing. So you see things like this. Kyiv says at least 21 dead in a strike near the city of Odessa, one of them being a child. We've seen this a lot. We've seen hospitals, schools, all types of things supposedly blown up. Last week, they said a supermarket with over 1,000 people was hit by a missile strike. Now, I don't know what, even the biggest Walmart here don't have 1,000 people in them. What's the chances you're in a war-torn country? Nobody has money or food or any of this stuff, and the supermarket has over 1,000 people in it. Just does not make sense. So where does all this money come from? Are they getting this stuff for free? And why is there 1,000 people in the supermarket? That just seems like it's overcrowded. Doesn't happen. So when the video footage was released of the missile strike was actually next to the supermarket. It didn't hit the like debris went over from the supermarket and to the supermarket, but nothing actually hit the supermarket itself. No missiles or anything. Sorry, guys. Give me just a second. All right. So, like I was saying, guys, it's all about controlling the media. And the propaganda is almost close to what we seen during World War II. Hitler and his Goonies used propaganda as the way to justify everything they did. And that's how the United States and the West is doing versus Russia. They're using propaganda to aid Ukraine because people feel bad and nobody complains about where this money comes from. United States sending $820 million to aid to Ukraine, including missile systems. Where is this $820 million coming from? When you can't even take care of you got people in this country, veterans that have fought in wars for the United States that don't have homes, that are sitting in the streets homeless. Ghettos all around the countries. Invest in our country with the same money, but they always tell us we don't have it. So where is this money coming from, guys? Where is it coming from? Is it coming from the politicians? No, they're definitely not paying out of their pocket. Is it coming from donations from regular people? Maybe a small percent, maybe a couple million may come from donations. Or is it coming from celebrities giving money? Maybe an even smaller percent coming from celebrities. Is it coming from our taxes? Oh, yeah. We're paying for it in our taxes. Is it coming from China? Yes. China is sponsoring the United States, giving the United States money, loaning us money. This is how China keeps getting richer. They keep getting countries in debt by loaning them money. A lot of people don't know that this is actually happening, that we borrow money from China. This money comes from somewhere, guys. Somebody's paying for it, and they use propaganda to justify everything they do. As you see everywhere, Biden vows U.S. NATO allies will stand with Ukraine for as long as it takes. Ukraine is not a NATO ally. So why aren't you guys in Africa doing this? Helping those countries in Africa that are getting blown to bits. Why aren't you in the Middle East doing this? It's only because it's a European country. And what color people are in Europe, guys? The world is one big racist place, guys. Hate to say it, that doesn't mean white people are racist, but the people in power are. They are very racist. And they only care about people who tend to match what they are. Match the color of their skin. They don't want to see a European country being blown to bits at war. They don't want to see that. But you got every other week, the United States sending airstrikes in Syria, blowing up civilians. African countries being blown to bits. They don't care. A civil war in Yemen. Saudi Arabia bombing the shit out of them. Israel bombing the shit out of Palestinian people. Where is the support for those people? Why aren't they condemned for doing these things? Why is this getting swept under the rug? Saudi Arabia, Crown Prince killing journalists in different countries because they speak out about them. Any of the journalists from Saudi Arabia that fled to another country for their safety and spoke out against the Saudi regime were assassinated, and it gets swept under the rug. They assassinated a journalist in Turkey a few years back at the embassy and got away with it with the help of who? The United States. It's all about propaganda, guys. These leaders are corrupt. You have leaders of countries, Donald Trump, president of the United States, former president of the United States, planned on assassinating the president of another country. He wanted to assassinate a president of another country. As a matter of fact, let me try to find who this president was. I can't remember the name. Let me I'll take stuff over, guys. Hopefully it shows up. Can't remember the leader's name. It's probably only going to show the Iranian general. Yeah, I'm not going to be able to find it apparently. I can't find it. Man, I wish I could remember who it was. All right, can't figure out who it was, guys. But we are living in a corrupt world, guys, where the United States, and I love my country to death, but we're going to start getting exposed for the evil that we're doing out here in this world. Yes, Lobo. You're absolutely right about that. So, excuse me. Sorry. Eating a pineapple. They are laser satellites that they use to start these forest fires and been doing so for so long. The fact of how much our governments around the world can manipulate things such as weather, forest fire, all these different things, tsunamis, a lot of stuff is manipulated. When you start manipulating Mother Nature, that's why you see the earth slowly dying. Global warming, it's because we're manipulating too much stuff. And it's become a bad habit. A very bad habit. Who cares though? Who cares, huh? So, let's see. Let's see where we get some more propaganda everywhere, guys. Yeah, because Lobo, they're so terrible at it. They don't think there are people woke out there that expose it. If our people in our country woke up to these things and seen how much this stuff was manipulated, they wouldn't do it no more. Or they would at least try to cover it up and make it look better. They don't, but people here are too blind. Look, more American propaganda. At least 8 killed in a reported Russian missile strike on a Ukrainian apartment building. They're showing us everything. They're telling us things that are not necessarily true. And some of these things are our own doing. Ukrainian people, or Ukrainian military attacking their own people just to make Russia look bad, or with the help of outside countries like Poland and neighboring countries to make it look as if Russia is doing a lot of evil things. This is scary, man. This is very scary. Very scary. And have you guys wondered why all these leaders are visiting Ukraine? Why? Why are all these leaders visiting a war-torn country in Europe that's in the middle of a war? Is that safe for these leaders? Or is it more propaganda to make people feel like they're supporting these leaders? I mean, supporting Ukraine by showing up to a country where they're being bombarded by Russian aggression. Or maybe the Russians aren't doing as much as we thought they are. Maybe they really are just in the region of the Donbass region where the separatists had control of. Or maybe Russia's just hitting military sites and not trying to annex the whole country. But that's the scary part, because they could also be using green screen and making us think they're right there with the president of Ukraine, when in reality, it's all for show. They're not even there. Good editing, green screen, a lot of stuff, and boom, you're right there in Ukraine. Prime Minister Boris Johnson of Great Britain in Ukraine. Oh, wow. President of France, Emmanuel Macron in Ukraine. Oh, my gosh. House Leader of the United States, Nancy Pelosi in Ukraine. Oh, my gosh. Joe Biden's wife, First Lady Jill Biden in Ukraine. Oh, this is all fabricated. Or could it even be that the president of Ukraine is not actually in Ukraine, and they're using green screen when they go visit him in his luxury mansion in Germany? I'm not saying he's necessarily in Germany, but I'm using that as an example. So what's really going on? The G7 just had a summit. NATO finally got the approval from Turkey to allow Finland and Sweden to join NATO. This is another way to provoke Russia, because the whole goal is to tear Russia apart. And the United States is trying to use NATO to take out Russia so the US can focus on China. The United States doesn't want to put all its focus on Russia because the US is still worried about China. Why is the US worried about China? Because when the New World Order comes, it's going to be between the US and China on who becomes the new world leader. And because the United States is on a decline, a rapid decline, and their grip around the world is starting to slowly fade, those leaders, elites that call the shots, that live in Israel, will easily kick the US to the side and make China the new leader of the world. Israel controls everything. Why do you think the US gives Israel so much money, so much military equipment? Why do you think so? It's because the most powerful people in the world live in Israel. The elites of the world live in Israel. Israel's defense system is second to none. You guys don't notice the Iron Dome system? Israel has the best defense system in the world. Have you guys ever thought about why? Why does Israel have the best defense system in the world? Why has Israel never lost a war? How did Israel beat 3 countries at one time? Come on. You guys never thought about that? Because the most powerful people in the world live in Israel. Israel's in the middle of a fucking death zone. Jordan, Europe, Syria, all these countries hate Israel, and Israel's sitting right there with the best defense. People are terrified of them, though. Why? Because Israel's so powerful. All their leaders are elites. They have not the prime ministers. I'm talking about all the elites, the people that pull the strings that you guys do not see live in Israel. That's why Israel has the best defense system. The United States is always pouring money over there because they have to keep them protected at all times. It's nowhere you're going to beat Israel in a war. It's been said plenty of times. So, what do you guys think? What is this? Putin's war has killed 343 children in Ukraine, prosecutor general says. So is Putin a war criminal is what I want to know. That's what I want to know. Yeah, guys, we're about to wrap this up. But I want you guys to understand what is really going on out here in this world. Yep. So, guys, just pay attention to the Western propaganda. Pay attention to what's going on. I'm not saying Putin is right for anything he's done because he's not, but the United States is no better than Russia. Stop falling for the propaganda. Put 2 and 2 together. I promise you, you will get 4 and not 700. Don't believe that Russia's military is not capable and is weak. This is all the way that's leading up to something very, very unexpected. Says Belarus president says Belarus intercepted an attempted missile strikes by Ukraine. Yeah, man. So watch out for the propaganda. Stay woke. Because the battle is just getting started. This Ukraine war, this Russia attack on Ukraine, could it be the start of World War III? But we won't know until maybe a year or two from now. Just like when Poland was attacked by Germany, we didn't know that was the start of World War II when they attacked them. But that's how things played out. Y'all have a good one. Roberto Conspiracy Files checking out.